This is MTG Burgeoning, and in this video we are going to update and upgrade our Morophon the Boundless Changeling Tribal EDH deck. Thank you for joining us for another episode of the Up and Up series. Today, once again, it's Morophon the Boundless and our oh-so-marvelous Changeling deck. We have 3 cards going into the 99, replacing 3 cards that I believe may end up losing some of the fans of this deck, perhaps of this series. If you've been following the Changeling pool and the Changeling deck and what we're trying to do over many, many years now and many, many episodes here on the Up and Up series, you know that we are pushing to evolve this into a 100% flavorful Changeling build, very similar to our All Snow deck, featured by Chromat, which actually is not a snow commander, but that's for another discussion in another episode of the Up and Up series. Today we have some, what I could only preface by saying, controversial choices, keeping in mind that we are looking to evolve the deck to more and more Changeling synergies, and in so doing, we need to filter out the cards that have nothing to do with Changelings, nothing to do with tribal synergies or representation. So please keep that in mind when we start revealing cards that are coming out, and don't light me up in the comment section until you hear my reasoning for doing so. All right, I know you're going to be with me, MTGBC. You always have, so let's do this. 3 cards going in, 3 cards coming out. The first card of this video going in is going to be such a powerful card in this build. This is Viewpoint Synchronization. This is from the Assassin's Creed Universes Beyond set. It has a mana value of 4 and a green mana, but we can cast it for a free running cost of 2 and a green mana, and we can do so only if we dealt combat damage to a player this turn with an assassin or a commander. Note that we don't have to send Morophon into combat. We can just send one of our Changelings instead, because all of our Changelings are all creature types at all times, and that includes assassins. So what Viewpoint Synchronization gives us is that we can search our library for up to 3 basic lands and reveal them. We can put 2 of them onto the battlefield tapped, and the other into our hand. So this is like a beefed up Kodama's Reach and a beefed up Cultivate. This gives us, if we cast it for its free running cost, of course, this gives us that extra basic land. 2 of them are going into play tap, while 1 goes into our hand. This can help us to fix the mana in our build. We have a lot of, tribal specific lands that are in our build that help us to cast our creature spells, but not so much our non-creature spells. Well, a card like Viewpoint Synchronization can get us 3 different basic lands, 3 different colors, fixing our mana in our 5-color build. Let's keep that in mind. For 2 and a green mana, as long as one of our assassins dealt damage to one of our opponents, well, we're going to be okay with fixing our mana by getting 3 basic lands. Keep that in mind. Viewpoint Synchronization's going in because of its ability to completely fix our mana by fetching us 3 basic lands for the cost of 2 and a green mana, as long as one of our assassins deals combat damage to an opponent. With that in mind, Viewpoint Synchronization is going into the 99. Remember, complete evolution of Changeling synergies. It's going into the 99, and it is replacing Sol Ring. The aforementioned tribal lands, they give us a lot of colorless mana that we can use to cast spells, but we cannot use the colored mana that's generated by those lands to cast our non-creature spells. Those are specifically for the cards that they name the tribes, whether it's Secluded Courtyard or any of the other cards that are like that. We need to keep that in mind. Sol Ring taps, of course, gives us the double colorless mana. We're running into a glut of colorless mana. We need versatilization? We need more versatility in our land fixing and our color fixing. And here is why I think in this build, Viewpoint Synchronization is going to help us do that more than Sol Ring. Yes, we're going to miss the mana ramp that this could give us, especially if it's in our opening hand. This puts us on a turn quicker of getting Morophon the Boundless onto our side of the battlefield, because it is a 7 generic mana, and the Soul Ring can pay for 2 of that. In this deck, though, again, for the aforementioned reasons, Viewpoint Synchronization is going to put 3 basic lands, 2 of them into play, 1 into our hand, which could be 3 different colors, and all we have to do is relinquish the spot of Soul Ring. It's getting less and less the number of cards in this deck that are not tribal synergies or changeling synergies. Soul Ring is one of the last ones, and it is very hard to pull this card out. But if we want to achieve our goal of 100% changeling abilities, not abilities, 100% changeling flavor, we got to make some tough cuts, and Soul Ring is going to be a tough cut. But I feel optimistic that Viewpoint Synchronization can help us with the mana fixing at the expense of losing our mana rock. We will see in gameplay. We will see. Card number 2 going into the 99, and that is... here we go. We have Barkform Harvester. Here we have a shapeshifter with Changeling. All right, a new Changeling going into the 99. It's a 2/3 for 3 generic mana, and we can pay 1 generic mana to put target card from our graveyard on the bottom of our library. Yes, it goes on to the bottom, but it does allow us the ability to recur some cards from our graveyard back into our library. That could be important because, based upon the cards that we have in the 99, in addition to many of the cards from the Changeling pool, Barkform Harvester could be a sneaky good addition by getting those cards from our graveyard back into our library. Plus, it's going to help with our overall Changeling count because it actually is a shapeshifter with Changeling. Having new copies of those babies come along, those are feats that are as rare as winter roses. So to make room for Barkform Harvester, we are going to take out Regrowth. Here is another one of those cards that is not Changeling specific, doesn't give us any Changeling synergies. It is similar to Soul Ring in that it's one of the last few cards in the 99 of this build that do not have these tribal synergies. For 1 and a green mana, we just cast this sorcery to return a card from our graveyard right to our hand. Now, although we don't get to get it directly into our hand, with Barkform Harvester, we do have the ability to put multiple cards from our multiple cards from our graveyard into our library. They go on the bottom, of course, but we have ways in which to shuffle that library up. We have ways in which to do that. So the one-time usage of Regrowth with its sorcery speed is going to be replaced by the instant speed ability of Barkform Harvester. It's 2 mana, not 1. It's 2 mana to do that, not 1. So for the same overall amount of mana, 2, we can return that card to the bottom of our library. And yes, we know that we can do that at instant speed. It's not the same as bringing it back to our hand, but we're not losing the overall ability for recursion. It's just going to make sure that it's just going to, need another step to get those cards from our library into our hand, which we have the ability to do. We're not too worried about that. Yes, I'm sorry, I did make the mistake. That is 2 generic mana to activate Barkform Harvester's ability, not 1. 2 mana, 2 generic mana, not 1. Note that we can do that at instant speed, so with enough available mana, if somebody decides to Bog our graveyard, guess what? We'll put all those cards on the bottom of our library instead. All right, here we go, MTG BC. So we lost the Soul Ring, we lost a Regrowth, but they're both yielding to similar themes. The Soul Ring's coming out, but we're getting land fetching instead. The Regrowth is coming out, but we're still getting some graveyard recursion. So we're not losing the overall theme. We're just evolving it to what we want specific to this Changeling build. Third and final card going into the 99 of this build for this video, for this deck. There it is, another shapeshifter with Changeling. Here we have 3-Tree Mascot. This one's 2 generic mana for a 2/1, and we can pay a generic mana to add 1 mana of any color. We can activate this ability only once each turn, and that's not going to be a problem for us. So all of those lands that we were talking about earlier in this video that tap for a colorless mana, that we can just take that mana, we can jam it into 3-tree mascot and get any color we want, and we have no limitations or restrictions on how to use that mana. Very, very potent addition here. Plus, it helps to increase the number of shapeshifters with Changeling that we have in the build. We welcome with arms wide open 3-tree mascot. With this shapeshifter with Changeling going into the 99, we're going to take a shapeshifter without Changeling out. And that is Metallic Mimic. This is a shapeshifter. It does not have Changeling. So it was definitely included on the onset of creating this deck. But now I feel like there are other options that are going to be overall better for us. Everyone knows Metallic Mimic. It's a 2/1. It comes into play with 2 generic. You pay 2 generic mana for its mana value. Comes into play. You choose a creature type. Metallic Mimic is the chosen type. And for each other creature we control of the chosen type that enters the battlefield, it does so with an additional +1/+1 counter. It's okay. The +1/+1 counter, I mean, it's okay. We have so many other ways to buff the powers and toughnesses of our creatures that we're not going to miss the +1/+1 counter. That's all that Metallic Mimic was offering us. Plus, it doesn't have Changeling, so it's not going to gain any of the synergies from any of the cards from the Changeling pool outside of having a Maskwood Nexus on our side of the battlefield as well. So with that in mind, Metallic Mimic is going to yield to the 3-tree mascot because we're just going to get better. We're going to get better returns on the mana that we invested. It helps to fix our mana, and it has Changeling. I don't think we're going to miss the +1/+1 counters. It's just not as impactful as it could be. All right, there you have it, MTG BC. Like I said, controversial choices. 3 cards coming out, one of which in the Metallic Mimic that does have or could have had some kind of shapeshifter, some kind of Changeling synergies, yielding to a Changeling that is going to most likely help the overall build much better. We're losing a Soul Ring. We're losing a Regrowth. Let me know what you guys think about this in the comment section below. And hopefully I didn't lose any of you. This is MTG Burgeoning, your channel for all things Magic.